Good evening, Mr. Mayor. My name is Jeff Wilson of Longview and the council. I came bearing gifts tonight. Would you like me to hand them out or have the clerk do that?
Go ahead.
I'll approach.
No. No, they're not. Be careful. Watch out.
This is not a firework gift, I can assure you. It seems a hot topic lately, but I'd like each one of you, if possible, to take one and pass it on. There's enough for all. In fact, that's one of the problems. There's enough for many of us. And what I'm trying to do, Mr. Mayor, is a concerned person, I would like to make sure that we follow through as a community and we take the time to make sure that we are afforded the opportunity to be transparent with our other local governments. The issue that I'm giving to you today is a report that I certainly didn't write, but I would like you to be aware of it, because I'm going to ask the City Council to make sure that you're proactive with other agencies that have an impact of their actions on our community. There's several cities and whatnot, and we're all funneled into a county. So this topic is not going to go away. I certainly don't want to shock or to scare, but at times the truth really is the truth. So I know I haven't made a whole lot of sense because I'm just really asking for you to ensure that you do something very well, is to keep the communication very open amongst the City of Longview and any other agency or agencies that's involved in this matter, because that's the key issue, is it involves everybody. Nobody is escaping from what I handed you tonight. So forgive me if I have done it in a way that is a form of a grandstand, but at this point and this time, it is just time to communicate. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Any questions, Jen?
I'm assuming these are clean.
I don't know.
Are these clean or dirty, Jeff?
These are brand new needles that came from the Cowlitz County Syringe Exchange Program at 621 Grade Street in Kelso.
Could I ask you a question or two if you would please come back?
I've got questions for you.
Yeah, Jen, I guess, I'll give you just a second. I guess, do you have any information or knowledge on how many of these are being handed out and how many are coming, the dirty are coming back?
Well, unfortunately, I do. I wish I could stand before you tonight and pull the I don't know card. Unfortunately, I know exactly too well. I have personally visited the Syringe Exchange Program at that address, and that is sponsored by the county. Not that I'm standing in front of you today because there's a specific need you need to worry about. I wanted to know the truth. So I had approached on a few occasions. I've actually entered the facility, and so have other citizens, to find out what goes on there. And I will tell you that the one-for-one exchange is a fallacy. It may have been monitored and run that way at one time, but I can speak on the times that I have been there present, and others that are in this room tonight, that in fact it has not been a one-for-one. And what I'm suggesting is this is a program that has great impact on our community. It can create fear, and I can see some potential positive for harm reduction. But the issue that I wanted to bring forth was to bring it to an open discussion. The matter is, I believe that you and your council, Mr. Mayor, need to be very aware of this. I know that you are, but the entire story does need to be told. The fact is they have not, in my visits, given out one-for-one. And at times I haven't even left needles. So I think that the system is either broken or in dire need of repair. So, and I'm not at that point yet to offer up an opinion, because I think that the entire, the community needs to weigh in. This is certainly nothing that is a new problem, but I did find out much more than I ever intended on knowing. I didn't want to know what I know. And people do know me at times as one of the people that routinely, and for over 2 years, I have walked our community, and I mean the entire county. So I have a fairly good feel on it. I care enough about this topic that I'm trying to bring awareness. I want adult talks on the topics, and that's going to bring us to solutions. But it's at that point where I had to do this tonight. It's not my style. I would rather come today and talk about the Shea locomotive and the sunshine. These are things that mean more to me. But it's because I want to preserve those other topics. That's why I'm here for you tonight. So take it for what you will. This is the information that I have. We are number one in opioid deaths in the state. There is a reason for that, and there are many factors, excuse me. But this is going to be an ongoing topic, and I appreciate your wanting to know about this. This is what I respect about our open governments, is they do need to hear. Part of my job is to bring it to you, not to tell you what to think. I know that you'll get to your own opinions someday, and I respect you for that. But I do need to bring the awareness. It's well past due that because of the children, because of all of our citizens, of all demeanor and whatnot, we do owe harm reduction to be an adult topic to an entire community, not just a selected few. And as you will find out, there will be some reports coming out. I have collected, of course, more needles than I obviously can keep up with. But I can tell you I've narrowed down a potential source, and that's why you have the report in front of you. The report is really geared for you to read it, and I hope that you don't like it. I, for one, do not like that report, and I'll go so far as to say I don't trust that report. The secret's on the final page of that report. The data is incorrect. So if nothing else, it's hard for me to stand in front of you. I want you to know the truth. I want to give you a real report. You don't have one, but that's all that we have for now.
Well, in being totally transparent, I knew Jeff had all this information because we've talked from time to time, and the needles that are all over, in my opinion, could be much better cared for if we had a one-on-one. And you can't throw this out in the spray park, or can't throw needles out at the lake, or you have to have one to get one. And I love the program somewhat because we can get folks to use clean needles, but it's just that one portion that doesn't seem to be working well.
Mr. Mayor, can I
Yes.
ask a question? Jeff, in this report's from the county, one question if I might, Jeff. This report is from the Cowlitz County Health and Human Service Department?
Yes, this is the report that I've obtained from Cowlitz County. I have asked if there are other reports I would supply,
And
if there
they're
were some.
stating in 2016 they handed out 887,000 needles?
It's either 883,000 or 887. If it's 887, regardless, that would mean that every man, woman, and child in Cowlitz County is given 7 to 8 needles. That would mean a paved road at 6 inch per needle of a 7-mile paved road of hypodermic needles from end to end.
And you made a comment that the numbers are incorrect, so are they underestimating?
Well, I, of course, didn't publish or write the report. It's published by another local agency. However, the back page clearly says what it says, that there was a data breach, and the information is really a guesstimate. And that's why I'm here tonight. I want the truth. Whatever the numbers will be, but you should get a real report. I think you're due a real report. Citizens are going to ask you, and I feel that in fairness, I want to make sure the communication's open between all the cities and the agencies that's behind us.
Thank you for what you do to clean up the city on this.
Thank you.
Don't leave yet. There may be other questions. I don't know, since we've opened the subject.
Well, I did, and Jeff, I
Mike,
guess.
please.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mike.
Microphone. Excuse me. Oh, I thought you were talking to Mike. Go ahead.
Jeff, by the way, thank you very much for what you're doing. And I was gonna ask, how many needles did you have to turn in to get 7, 8, 9?
Well, in my visits over there, each time I offered a count through what's a transparent bottle, and each time I was given a voluminous amount, much more than I ever brought in. And in fact, sometimes I didn't even leave the needles. I left with, times with the dirty needles, and of course an abundance of extra needles, but that's not all. There are other things that you can receive at the syringe exchange program, which is of course the kits. You are given kits if you desire, kits which include the surgical tubing, the filters, the condoms, and whatnot. It's a drug kit. Includes a little stove for preparation of the opioid injection. So this is a very big topic, and I'm not really here to pick a side, my goal, Mr. Mayor, was to create awareness. We should never get to a point where we become complacent in our society. I'm going to struggle with getting to that point where it's okay to see discarded syringes in our community, regardless of where they're from or how they got there. I think that it's a problem that we need to look at and find better solutions for, because it won't be something I will accept as the status quo. I don't want to normalize this. I think we owe it much better to our future generations to not normalize this. So I'm here tonight to at least offer awareness, not to stir the pot. Like I say, I wish I could do this in another way, but if I have to, the end will justify the means. I would like to ensure that the governments, our local agencies, talk to each other.
Well, I knew you had this information, that's why I wanted to open this dialogue. Mr. Wallen has a question for you.
Mayor, thank you. Mr. Wilson, you just described a drug paraphernalia kit. Our street crimes unit would normally get somebody on a possess or an attempt to possess if they found them with that. Could I ask, Mr. Manager, could I ask Captain Johnson?
Sure.
That would be possession of paraphernalia, so it's a misdemeanor and
And we hand this out, Mr. Wilson, where?
Well, it's handed out at 621 Great Street every
The health
Friday.
department?
Not of the health department, it's through Cowlitz County Health Department, formerly DAPC, now it's Family Health Center.
When did, Mr. Wilson, if I can interrupt you, when did the health department and its affiliate agencies begin to promote the drug use like this? When did this change happen? I don't quite understand how it went from healthcare and healthy living and healthy lifestyles and biking and pedestrian and healthy choices to providing for the tools for unhealthy choices.
If it's one thing I can offer to council, Mr. Mayor, to assure you, my personal experiences that I've lived through the last 2 years, it's hard for me to keep secrets, this has been difficult for me, is that I can assure you that they're only giving away the drug kits and the paraphernalia, they're not giving away the drug. I guess that's the only good news that I can stand before you tonight. That's what's missing. And I didn't mean to say that lightheartedly, but it's shocking to do this. I'm not one to stir the pot to get people falsely energized and create a fear. But I'm trying to create a sense of responsibility in the community so we understand our problems. I don't want people to be afraid of it, but we certainly shouldn't be ignorant. And above all, the city of Longview and the other cities should have some form of control. And you should have a say. And I'm quite sure tonight I've told you things you probably didn't know, and I didn't want it to be my place to inform you. I think there are others that probably should have informed council and your staff and be working with you rather than hear it from a very outspoken citizen that happens to bleed Cowlitz County when you cut me. So I'm not going to stop, but I need to change direction because I want to be part of the solution. And I really appreciate you listening. This is hard to do because I know there's kids in the room, and I can assure you that's by far what's been motivating me.
Ken, I think. Mr. Botero, I have a question. Come forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care of what has to happen.
I will do.
Appreciate it.
These go to waste control from me. There is no expense if you do find them. I don't want to have people emulate what I'm doing. I own companies that were in the pathogen business. I certainly don't want to encourage the citizens of Longview, Mr. Mayor, to go out and find excitement into syringe collection. It comes with danger, and there is a maturity that is required to handle those. But the good news is it doesn't cost anything to get rid of them. So I'll leave it at that. I will collect those. I don't have a sharp.
Before you go, I do have one question. Did I hear you say that you and a number of other people went in to collect these needles during the exchange? Did I hear you say that some of them are including children?
Actually, no, but you did bring that up. There are two other men. One of them is in this room tonight that have accompanied me on a few occasions. The other gentleman is not here. However, that's bad news. We became curious, so we brought in minor child. We brought a 14-year-old girl to see if she could go in and have her way with needle exchanging and kits. and there were no issues at all for that minor. And that alarmed me the most. As I said, my biggest concern is always going to be the children. And the 14-year-old girl that went in there, I thought it was too callous. I thought it was completely irresponsible. I love people way too much for that. That was kind of a deal breaker to me. Again, Mr. Mayor, this is hard for me because you know I'm not shy. But if you think I want to come to your council meetings and do this, I do not. It's gotten to this point. Again, this has been very hard for me to keep this secret for such a long time. Thank you for letting me come cleaner than this.
Yes, I was gonna apologize for extending this, but I think we absolutely needed it. Yes, sir. Give your name and city of residence, please.
Bill Josh in Longview. So I originally was going to speak about the Memorial Day dedication on Monday, which as a veteran is greatly appreciated. Memorial Day is a hard day for me and a lot of other veterans in the community. Hopefully my boss will allow me to have the day off on Monday. I was with Mr. Wilson April 14th and April 21st, and when we went into the syringe exchange program. There were county employees and family health center employees that provided the syringes. Everything that Mr. Wilson just said is absolutely correct. One citizen went in first. He did not have to provide syringes, needles. They just gave them to him. He brought back, he carried a bottle with him of 12 needles. We counted them, put them in his pocket just in case they would make him show. And they didn't, so he gave it to me, and I went in there and I said I have 12, and they're like, okay, well here's 20. And they said, I asked if I could get some for my wife, and they asked me, do you know your her code? I made something up. They're like, I'm not in the system, but if you come back, we'll give them to you. I was like, okay. April 21st was the date that the 14-year-old girl, under adult supervision, was able to go in without exchanging any and obtain the syringes. Not only that, they gave the paraphernalia that you need in order to cook the drugs, heat up the drugs, condoms, etc., to a 14-year-old girl, and she gave her date of birth, and the sickening thing is out front, there's a big old sign that says no children allowed. Who do you consider a child? A 13-year-old, 12-year-old, 14-year-old? And the reason Jeff is here, and I'm here, and I talked about this last time, is because the county health department doesn't give, frankly, a damn about this issue. We have tried repeatedly, to try to discuss about this, and there will be meetings held in June. We'll see what the health department says, and the county commissioners. But we don't have any confidence that this is going to be taken care of. Like I said last time, in 2014, the Parks Department issued a warning to the community. The community has had to deal with this and suffer for years. It's almost, we're halfway through 2017. When is this madness going to end? If the county commissioners and if the health department, which is located in Longview, by the way, you have jurisdiction, I would assume, if they won't do something, please do.